الحمد لله رب العالمين صلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ثم ما بعد. Tonight, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, I want to go back and mention and read what Sheikh Yassin Adani, from our ulama of the Maj, rahimahullah ta'ala, read in the Aqidat al-Tahwiyah of Imam al-Tahawi, and how he referenced what Abdullah ibn Muhammad Abi Ibrahim al-Rabi mentioned of the three types of Tawheed, and how those three types of Tawheed that Al-Harawi mentioned is different from what we know from our Salaf. في تقسيم التوحيد الثلاثة, and they divide the Tawheed into three different categories. مبني على الدليل من كتاب الله ومن سنة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, which is based upon the evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah. Al-Harawi mentioned three types of Tawheed, and this is mentioned in the At-Tahawi, his Aqidah. This idea is mentioned, and the Sheikh mentioned it, Ibn Abi Is, and then he refuted it. So tonight we're going to bring what Ibn Abi Is said and rebuttal to this statement in the Aqidah At-Tahawi, or what is known, in addition to what's in the Aqidah At-Tahawi, from these people, and how it is what they based all of them that share in the issue of the haqa'iq, which means the realities and the things that are behind the names and attributes of Allah. They have the sole right to tell us. We don't have the right to take the zahir, what's apparent, because there's something wara'ahu, there's something behind it. هم الذين يعرفون الحقائق دون أخرى. They are the only ones who know the true reality of the things behind what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said about himself, nobody else. So that was mentioned in the last class, where the ulama of the Salaf, and they're dividing the Tawheed into three parts. They also mentioned what is al-a'dam, wal-ajal, wal-muqtada, kalimatu la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. They mentioned the three types and which one is the most auspicious and which one is the meaning to the Shahada. They all mentioned that. From the three types, our ulama of the past mentioned Tawheed Rububiyyah. That is, acknowledging that Allah created us, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the fashioner, He is the provider, the sustainer, the one who yadabbar al-amr, He's in control of the affairs. وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ الْكَوْنِ, He created everything that exists. إِلَى غَيْرِ ذَلِكَ رُبُوبِيَّةٌ. Then the second one that the Salaf they mentioned, Tawheed al-uluhiyya, from the word alaha, ya'lu, يعني to جعل الشيء يعني ماذا يعني معبودا, to make something worshipped. And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So uluhiyah. And all of them said, huwa a'dam wa ajal yani taqsim al-tawheed. It is the most important, it is the most yani lofty. Why? Because it is that which gives the meaning of la ilaha illallah. And that is la yani na'budu illa Allah, that we only worship Allah. وَلَا نَعْبُدُهُ إِلَّا بِمَا شَرَعَ, and we only worship Him upon what was legislated to our Nabi. أما أسمائي والصفات, as far as the names and attributes of Allah, يتضمن في هذا, they are inclusive in the second taqsim, the second type of tawheed, which is uluhiyah. كما أن الربوبية يتضمن يعني في التقسيم الثاني, just as the lordship part is intrinsic, it is inclusive in the the second type of tawheed or taqsim that they sectioned them and divided into. The third and the first are inside of uluhiyah, rububiyyah and uluhiyah, asma wa sifat and uluhiyah. And that if a person bore witness to the rububiyyah without uluhiyah, la yanfa. If he believes Allah is the creator and the sustainer and the fashioner and the one who made everything exist, but he doesn't believe that he has to worship Allah, he does not submit that none should be worshipped except Him, la yanfa. It doesn't benefit him. Kafir. He's a kafir. If he believes in the asma wa sifat, Allah huwa yani السلام يعني القدوس الرحمن الرحيم الجبار يعني الوهاب يعني الجلال يعني الكبير العلي. He believes any of those names, but he doesn't believe that we have to worship Him. لا ينفع, no benefit. Why? Because of muqtada, yani la ilaha illallah, what designates and makes it that we have to worship Allah is the uluhiyah. The uluhiyah. And that's why Shaykh al-Islam ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, he mentioned al-rububiyyah yastalzamu al-uluhiyah. Yastalzam from the word lazima, so to make necessitated. Luzum, something that is yani, a must. Yani yalzamu, something that is necessitated by something else. What is it? He said al-rububiyyah yastalzimu al-uluhiyah. The rububiyyah has to come with uluhiyah. If they're not together, rububiyyah has no benefit. So that is the taqsim al-thalatha, that the salaf of our ummah, yani those people that pass, yuqassimu al-tawheed, yani في ثلاثة, وهو الربوبية, the lordship, والألوهية, the worship to Allah تبارك وتعالى, والأسماء والصفات, His names and His attributes. الهروي يعني نعم, he said يعني التوحيد الأولى الذي جاء به الرسل هو توحيد العام, هو التوحيد العام. It is توحيد عام. And Ibn Abi Is explained what they mean when they say يعني التوحيد العام. He said that is that توحيد العام is first of all, a tawheed that everybody has. The messengers, prophets, messengers, me, you, that's yani for everybody. And that yani, that tawheed is that we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the creator. We believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the fashioner. We believe that yani, the prophets and messengers have been given a message, but we're all the same. We're all the same. And that is the tawheed, that is the lowest. Yani, everybody's the same. And it said, that Al-Harawi said the second Tawheed khas. This is a special Tawheed. And that Tawheed is what's meant by that Tawheed, al-kashf, al-ilm al-haqa'iq, that they are the ones who know the bawatin, what's behind the scenes. They know the eternal affairs. Al-Ghabiyyah, that of the unseen. Nobody else knows that, including the prophets and messengers. Only those people who are in that category know it. And then he said the third type of Tawheed was Tawheed al-Qadam, Tawheed al-Qadam. And the Sheikh said, what is this meaning of Qadam? He said that Qadam is Allah. Al-Qadam, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the level, that is the third type of Tawheed. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yuwahidu nafsihi wa duna ghayri. That Allah is the only one that deems himself to be in this category. He's the only one that has these names and attributes. And for us, we can't deem him to be alone in that. He has made himself alone. So therefore, any attributes, any actions, anything that has to do with Allah, we don't make Tawheed to that. Only Allah makes his own Tawheed. He makes it in a category by itself. We don't have to do the same thing, make Allah in that category. And this one is the Tawheed, Mada al-Wahda, Duna Wahda. The Tawheed where Allah has a Tawheed for himself, but we don't have a Tawheed for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that third part is what prevents us from saying anything about his names and attributes. Rather, we have to turn to a Tawheed al-Thani or Tawheed al-Khas. That is the Tawheed that is only relevant to those people who are the Falfasa, wal-Munsafa, wa Ahl al-Kalam, those people of the rhetoric, those people of the mysticism, those people of the philosophy, that they are able to tell you al-bawatin duna al-dhahir. They don't tell you what's apparent, they tell you what nobody else knows. And that's the type of Tawheed that is only for them, and this makes them higher than even the prophets and messengers. It makes the prophets and messengers on the level like everybody else. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. So this is how you get to the point where you don't describe any names and attributes of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, because that's only for him. That's only for him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of the things that gets them to the point where they could Allah musta'an either deny that there's a meaning to something, or yuharrif, or to alter the meaning. Allah musta'an. So the Sheikh, he said, as we continue, he said that they said the people from the first type of Tawheed, in their regard, the Sufiya, and these different people that share in this, they say the Awam, that they only know that which everybody else knows. The prophets and messengers alike. They don't know anything besides the apparent things. But those people who are the second, Tawheed al-Khas, then these are those who know the haqa'iq, which means the things of the unseen, the things that have to be explained, and we don't know that, and that's what we continue showing Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. The Shaykh said, al-haqa'iq means ma rara al-dhahir, that which is behind the apparent things. Those meanings that people don't know, they have to uncover for you. Ma rara al-shara'i, that which is behind legislation. What's up front, we know that. But what's behind it, the hidden meanings, they know. وَهَذَا لَنَا وَلَيْسَ لِغَيْرِنَا. They said that's only for us, the second type of Tawheed, Tawheed al-Khas, and nobody other than that. And the Shaykh is again reading from At-Tahawi, and he's mentioned also that which is stated by Al-Harawi. The Shaykh said, بِهَذَا يَقُولُونَ هَذَا التَّوْحِيدُ الْخَاصَ. This is a special Tawheed, a special type of oneness only for us, those people. He said, وَأَمَّا التَّوْحِيدُ الْعَامِ. As for the first type that they have mentioned, Tawheed al-Am, this for everybody, including the prophets and messengers and everybody else. وَكَيْفَ يَثْبُتْ. كيف يثبت قالوا النبوة. Then how do they affirm their prophethood? How do they get to the level of prophethood, those prophets and messengers? ويثبت كذلك بالنظر. And how do they become prophets is also how do they become from the people who are considered Tawheed al-Am. They reach that, they obtain that prophets and messengers, number one, by their prophethood that Allah gave them, the message. They become from the people Tawheed al-Am by their nubuwwah, by their what Allah sent them with their message. Number two, binadr, by looking and investigating, meaning to the creation of Allah, and the creation of themselves. وَإِلَى آيَاتِ الْكَوْنِيَّةِ, and looking at the things that exist. He said, هذا الذي يثبت التوحيد العام. So this is what affirms a Tawheed al-Am, that you've been given a message by Allah, you've been given books by Allah, and then you examine that which Allah created from His creation, and this includes the creation of things that exist in yourself, that which makes those prophets and messengers Tawheed al-Am. This basically is saying this is what makes them a messenger to Tawheed Wahabiyyah and not Uluhiyyah. He said, كيف إنسان يستطيع أن يصل, and how can humans arrive at Tawheed al-Am? What makes them from the section of Tawheed al-Am, the Shaykh mentions? إلى شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله. Is it that you bear witness that there is none worthy worship except Allah? He said, that there's no one, the shahada as a prophet, they're given that, and they keep going, and they observe the creation of Allah and those different things. حتى يصل إلى أول أنواع التوحيد, until finally they become from the first type of Tawheed, Tawheed al-Am. So basically their message is just, a message that makes them a prophet, but it doesn't do anything unless they observe the creation of Allah and they keep, investigating until finally, once they investigate enough, then they become convinced from the signs of Allah, what He created. This makes them Tawheed al-Am. Prophets and messengers become Tawheed al-Am, and not a Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, a Tawheed al-Am. They're just like everybody else, except they've been given a message by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. But what really gets them to that point, observing the creation of Allah, what He has created, and that makes them from the section, the first type, that those people have mentioned, Tawheed al-Am, wa la hawla wa la quwwata billah. The Shaykh said, ثُمَّ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ, he said, the next point, إِذَا كُشِفَ لَهُ. Now here, This is talking about the stages. So imagine you have a prophet. He's been given message from Allah Azza wa Jalla. He's been given books. But he's still on the level of Tawheed al-Am. He's on the low level of Tawheed. Tawheed uluhiyyah is arfa' wa ajal al-nur min al-Tawheed. It's the highest. And it is the most loftiest type of Tawheed. The Prophet he said, Amirtu an uqatil al-nas hatta yashhad an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Prophet said, I've been commanded to fight with the people verbally, until they bear witness there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah. Hada Tawheed uluhiyyah. And then the Prophet said, وَأَنَّ مُحَمَّدَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, and that I'm the Messenger of Allah. وَيُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةِ, to establish salah. وَيُؤْتُ الزَّكَاةِ, and pay the zakat. And iman with amal. Tawheed al-uluhiyyah. Prophet said in the hadith, Abu Hurairah, the hadith in the Sahih Bukhari Muslim, he said, al-iman bid'un سبعون الإيمان 77 شعبة وأعلاها قول لا إله إلا الله نعم محمد رسول الله. Said the Iman has 70 parts to it. 70 something branches. Bid'un. As the scholar said, Bid'un min thalatha ila tis'ah. From 3 to 9. So 70, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, keep going. Has 70 something branches. أعلاها قول لا إله إلا الله. ما قال أعلاها الربوبية والنظر في الكون Allah Musa. He didn't say the Wahabiyyah and to observe and to discover and look into the existence of Allah. لا قال لا قول لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. Now, so this, imagine you do that, you're still on the low level. That's a powerful message. How do you get to the next level if you want to be like these people? Tawheed al-Khas wa ilm al-ghayb, to uncover the hidden things and to know the things of the unseen. A'udhu billah. After Allah said, وَلَا يَعْلَمُ غَيْبِ اللَّهِ. After Allah said, none knows the unseen except Allah. Rasulullah said, لَا يَعْلَمُ غَيْبِ اللَّهِ. None knows the unseen except Allah. اتفقوا الصحابة على من زعم أنه يعلم غيب فقد كفر. The Sahaba agree. Whoever claims he knows the unseen is a kafir. How do you get to Tawheed al-Khas from being with Tawheed al-Am? وعن بواطن الأمور, and to understand the internal affairs. And this internal affairs again also means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you know the eternal affairs of Allah. That's why you could talk about this and talk about that. Deny the attributes. Say no, it doesn't mean that. It means this. Because you think you have internal knowledge. Allah is giving you something special. Nobody else has. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. The Sheikh said, Bawatul Umur, the hidden affairs, internal affairs. Well, Bawatin al-Shari'ah, and the hidden points about the Sharia that nobody knows except you, not even the Prophet, nor a messenger who's from the people of the Tawheed al-Am, who's from the first and the low level. Allah Musa. Yasul ila martabatu thaniya. The Shaykh says you arrive at the second level. This is how you can achieve that. وهو مرتبة التوحيد الخاصة. It is the special section of Tawheed. فليس عندهم صلاة, those who they don't have to pray. بركوع ولا سجود, they don't have to bow, they don't have to prostrate. وليس عندهم صيام, they don't have to fast. رمضان أمسك عن طعام والشراب في يعني في نهار Ramadan, and have to leave off food and drink during the time of Ramadan. And second, on the Jama'ah في نهار Ramadan, and have to leave off sexual intercourse. ليس لهم هذا, the second level. ليس عندهم Hajj, they have to make no Hajj to the house of Allah تبارك وتعالى. وهو قصد إلى البيت الله الحرام, and it is to travel to the sacred house of Allah تبارك وتعالى. The second level, تحيل الخاص, they don't have to do these things. هذه ماذا يعني ظواهر. To do these things is the ظواهر, the apparent acts of worship, to pray, to fast, يعني to go to Hajj. They don't have to do that. هذا يعمل بها العامة, the Sheikh said. هذا يعمل بها العام. This is for تحيل العام, prophets, messengers, the common folk. أما نحن, the second level, we don't have to do it. أما هؤلاء, as far as those people, the Sheikh says, أهل المرتبة الثانية, the people on the second level, تحيل الخاص, قالوا, they say, الصلاة ليس هي, then salat is not كيف الصلاة ليس كما يزعم يعني العوام. It's not for us like the common folk or the prophets that are considered like common folk. بل الصلاة معرفة, يعني the salat, rather for us it is considered يعني معرفة أسرار القوم, to understand يعني and to know the secrets, the people, يعني to know the secrets يعني of the people. This is what salat for those people. Salat is not ibadah to Allah. For them, it's to know the secrets yani, of the people and the universe and those things like that. وَأَهْلُ حَقَائِقِ, and those people that have the right to uncover the issues of the unseen. وَالْبَوَاطِن, and those things, bawatin means internal, including the affairs of the unseen. وَكَذَلِكَ الصِّيَامِ, and also they give their own definition to siyam. هُوَ أَن تُمْسِكَ السِّرَّ وَأَن تَكْتُمَ السِّرَّ. It is to, yani, for them, fast is not to leave off the eating and drinking and the intercourse in the daytime of Ramadan. For them, is to leave off those things that are not the to hold on to the secrets, not to share what they know about the unseen. That's for them siyam, because siyam means to hold back, to refrain. So for them, siyam and sakasir, to hold on to the secrets, don't give it out, have this special knowledge. That's their definition of siyam. And wal hajj, الذهاب إلى المشايخ, and the hajj for them doesn't mean to make the qasd al-Bayt al-Haram, but it means to make the pilgrimage to their mashaykh. وَتُزُورُ قُبُورَهُمْ, and to visit the graves of their mashaykh. إِلَى غَيْرِ ذَلِكَ, the sheikh says, and other than that, from the rituals that they call hajj, different from what the ulama of the past have mentioned. So this is how wasalu, how you get to ila al-bawatin. This is how you this is how a person is able to rise from Tawheed al-Am, the first level, which they put the prophets and messengers and everybody else, and that which they became prophets and messengers on that low level, although they have revelation from Allah, although they have books from Allah, they have arrived at that injunction by their message, their books, and observing the creation of Allah Ta'ala. And the second level, how you reach that second level of being able to talk about eternal affairs and to keep the secret knowledge away from everybody else, having the tawheed al-khas, then this is by one of the ways, traveling to your shuyukh, meaning the deceased of your shuyukh, their graves, and making supplication to them and asking them, and then they give you this secret knowledge al-khas. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Taraka bawahir al-umur. You leave the apparent affairs and you busy yourself with the hidden affairs. That's how you reach the second level, Tawheed al-Khas. Allahumma musta'an. He said, هذا هو قول أبي إسماعيل الهروي. This is the statement of Abi Ismail al-Harawi. وهذا حقيقة من قول المتصوفة. He said, and this is the statement in reality of the Sufis. وقول أهل الباطن, those who deal and busy themselves with hidden knowledge. قال والنوع الثاني التوحيد الخاصة. He said, and he's reading from Ibn Abi Is and Tahawi. The second type is Tawheed al-Khasa. وهو الذي يثبت بحقائق, and it is that which gives them the firmness and the knowledge of the hidden affairs, that level of Tawheed. والنوع الثالث, and the third type, التوحيد قائم بالقدم. النوع الثالث توحيد قائم بالقدم. The Tawheed is established by Al-Qidam. Sheikh said, التوحيد قائم بالقدم. The Sheikh said, ما معنى هذا التوحيد? What is meant by التوحيد قائم بالقدم? He said, ما معنى قائم بالقدم? He said, Al-Qidam huwa Allah. This is a term they give it to Allah. Al-Qidam. Subhanallah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. قال هذا هو التوحيد الذي لا يستطيع, that no one has the ability and يصل إليه, to reach أهل مرتبة الأولى ولا ثاني, neither the first group, Tawheed al-Am, the prophets and messengers and everybody else, neither the second level, these special people that have gained this from their knowledge of the unseen and going to the graves of their shuyukh, not even them can reach this third level. وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ, verily, what is this third level except خاصة الخاصة? It's a special level for the one who's special. He said, ما معنى هذا? What's the special level for the one who's special? أنا إنسان, that humans إذا وصل إلى المرتبة يعرف ويقر, he gains knowledge and he agrees with what he gained. And that is بأن الله سبحانه وتعالى, that Allah the Most High لا يوحد أحد, that no one can make Allah. لا يوحده أحد, no one can make Allah himself alone. ولا يصفه أحد, and no one can describe him. ولا ينعته بنعت ووصف, and no one can give him a description or a adjective to describe him. ولا بثناء, and this is neither by praising him in that manner where you give him a description. ولا بحمد أحد, neither by praising him. فإنه يصل إلى مرتبة الثالثة, that's when you've reached the highest level of Tawheed, when you can't do anything concerning Allah Azza wa Jalla no more. He only does it for himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala. مرتبة الكبار أهل يعني الحقائق. This is the highest level that these people can reach. والباطن, and يعني the level of internal affairs. Subhanallah. So this is the third level, that once you reach the highest point, then you can't even make tawheed to Allah. Rather, He's the only one who makes tawheed to Himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the point that where these groups make it wrong for us to take the Zahir qawl, to take what's apparent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and to use it, because by this what you have heard, which is laid out, and any time we take al-amr min al-umur al-dhuhuriyah, anytime we take what's apparent, they slam us with this. They say, no, you can't do it, because no one has the right to really do that if you take this, which has been laid out by Abi Ismail al-Harawi, because the Tawheed is only for Allah. We don't know the realities of Allah. We don't know the secrets of Allah. We don't know the descriptions of Allah. We don't know those affairs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to the prophets and messengers. They don't even know it. That's why they're the level of Tawheed al-Am. They're of the level of Tawheed al-Am. And that uluhiyah, to worship Him in that regard, is not the main thing. The main thing is Rububiyyah, to acknowledge He created us, to look at the things in the heavens and the earth, and to bear witness to Allah, by looking at His existence, looking at, the things that He created that exist, binadr al-kawn, by looking at the universe, and not by the statement La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, which is uluhiyah. No, that first level, that's the prophets and messengers. The second level, this is special for those people, because they gained that by going to the graves of their shuyukh and supplicated to them. And thus, those people gave them something that even prophets and messengers couldn't give them. They have been raised to a level above the prophets and messengers and the common folk. And once you get to the third level, then that means these people have arrived at not only where they can deal with internal affairs, the issues of the unseen, but that they have made it to the point where they can't even try to make Allah alone in anything, because Allah Azza wa Jal has restricted that only for Himself. So anybody who tries to do the Tawheed as we know it, then they make him a kafir. And you can see how the rhetoric got to the point that they make you a kafir, and that they put around you restrictions with regards to, if Allah says something literally, then we take it literally. If the Prophet says something literally, we take it literally. Why? Because the prophets and messengers, according to them, don't even really know. How could they say something literally taken if they're Tawheed al-Am? They're the low level, they don't know, they're like everybody else. Hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. They said, يُقُلُونَ لَا يُجُوزُ لَنَا أَن نُوَحِّدَ اللَّهِ. So we can't do Tawheed to Allah. وَلَا يُجُوزُ لَنَا أَن نَصِفَ اللَّهِ. And we can't describe Allah. وَلَا يُجُوزُ لَنَا أَن نُثْنِيَ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And we can't praise Allah. إِنَّمَا Allah, verily Allah Himself, هو الذي يوحد نفسه. He is the one that makes His own Tawheed of Himself. بنفسه. نعم. لأن هذا التوحيد هذا توحيد قائم به. He's the only one to establish the توحيد or توحيد القدم. اللهم المستعان. حول ولا قوة بالله. يعني اللهم المستعان. هذا يعني توحيد يعني مفقود، يعني غير يمكن، مستحيل. يعني it's no way that you can do this to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. And that's why they say again, we're majasimun hash mujasima. When we try to praise Allah and we do the things that the Prophet said and we describe him, what he said, and we wahid Allah, we make him in the category by himself. That's why the kickback is what they say about us, because of this, which has been laid down from their shuyukh, and wallah musta'an, like the likes of Rabi, Ibrahim, Al-Harawiyu. Allah musta'an. So this is, Allah is the only one, the Shaykh said, they said, يَخْتَصُ بِهَذَا أَمْرٍ, to make himself, praise and alone, not the human beings. وَلَا يَجُوزُ لِأَحَدٍ أَنْ يَنْتِقُ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ, and it's not permissible for anybody to talk or mention the likes of these issues. That's only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with regard to his wahdaniyah, his being different and alone, not us. وَمَنْ نَطَقَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْهُ وَمَنْ نَطَقَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ هَذَا, and that Shaykh, he said, so they said, whoever mentions anything from the likes of what we believe in Tawheed about Allah, وَهُوَ جَاهِلٌ, he is ignorant, مُرْشِدٌ, هُوَ جَاهِلٌ, or جَاهِلٌ, he's ignorant, he doesn't know, he is ignorant. He is Ziddiqun, he has rose to the level of disbelief. He is Jahilun, Jahidun, rejecting the true creed. Zindiqun, he is a person of heresy that leaves Islam. And those who the opposite, they keep their mouth shut, they don't discuss them, they don't talk about it, then these are the people you'll see ila darajati al-kibar, they reach the highest level, those people, wallahu musta'an. Al-haqa'iq, the issues behind the scene. So you see, this is why it's technical, it's laid out, but this is why the thing is the way that it is. You see this kind of roadmap that's laid out, that plays out in the back and forth and the things we see with the people when they talk about Ahlul Sunnah being them. They are the true Ahlul Sunnah, and they are al-Madha Ashari Maturidiyah, or they are from the Mu'taziliyah, or they are saying they are Jahmiyah, or they are Qadiriyah or Sufiyah. This is why they claim they're Ahlul Sunnah and we're not. Those who take the apparent meaning, because they've set these principles as it relates to what they see regarding Tawheed, different from the way of the scholars of the past, who are those who take the Dhahir and they yatruk al-bawatin. They don't talk from behind, they don't talk from the unseen, they take what's the Dhahir? Naqal al-Dhahir. And if something comes majazi that has a different meaning here and there that agrees with the haqq, then we take it. But we don't leave all of the dhuhur and deal with the bawatin. All of the apparent, we leave it, and we only deal with mysticism and that which is speculism and rhetoric from philosophy and so forth, like they do. Allahu musta'an. Now Ibn Abi Is is going to mention the opposite. Ibn Abi Is is going to mention the opposite of what you heard, which is the kalam of Abi Ja'far al-Tahawi and his aqidatu mad al-Tahwiyah. قال Ibn Abi Is فإن أكمل الناس, and the most complete from amongst the people, توحيدا in their توحيد الأنبياء والمرسلين, or the prophets and messengers. ومن أكمل الناس بتوحيدهم, they are the most complete in their توحيد. Not the توحيد al-khas, the second type that they made, their ulama of dalala, the tawheed of the prophets and messengers, or akmal al-tawheed. Now, the tawheed al-anbiya wal-mursaleen, or akmal madan al-tawheed. It is the most, they are the most complete in their belief to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their tawheed. Alayhi salatu wa salam alayhim. وَمُرْسِلُونَ مِنْهُمْ أَكْمَلُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ. He said, and from amongst all of them that have the most complete tawheed and understanding, not the lowest level, tawheed al-am, they have the most complete, then there's some that are more complete than others. Ulul Azm min al-Rusul, and they are the major ones that Allah mentioned in the Quran as Ulul Azm. Akmalahum tawheed, and they are the most complete of their tawheed, while all of them are complete in their tawheed. وهم نوح, starting with Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim, number 2, Musa, number 3, Isa, number 4, Muhammadun sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhim ajma'in. وَأَكْمَلُهُمْ تَوْحِيدًا, and the one that's the most complete in his tawheed, Khalilan, from the two of them, the two, that Allah called them Khalilan. Muhammad ibn Ibrahim, sallallahu salam alayhi, that's our Nabi. And we call him Muhammad ibn Ibrahim because his father in the tawheed is Ibrahim. من ذرية ماذا إسماعيل ابن النبي النبي من أبينا في التوحيد إبراهيم. نعم إبراهيم. نعم إبراهيم. So some call the prophet Muhammad ibn Ismail. Why is Muhammad ibn Abdullah من نسبه, from his bloodline, but as it relates to Tawheed, he's Muhammad ibn Ibrahim. Naam, hakada. Not Muhammad ibn Ibrahim is his father in Tawheed. Naam. And these two established the Tawheed, قام بالتوحيد مما ليس يقوم به غيرهما, and they established the Tawheed with regards to a level that nobody else established on their level. Ibrahim and our Prophet ﷺ. Others established it, but the level of establishing it between the two examples, or synonymous, as you say. That's why Allah called them both Khalil. Now, ilman, the Sheikh said, the knowledge, ma'rifatan, and it's their knowledge they had of the deen of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Mahalan, and in their handling of situations. Da'watan lil khalq, and their calling and inviting and worshiping to the Lord of the heavens, showing that to the people. With jihadan, and their striving and fighting. فَلَا يَكُونْ تَوْحِيدًا أَكْمَلُ, that is no tawheed more akmal min tawheed al-rusul. So there's no tawheed that's been established more complete than the tawheed of any messengers, more in particular those 5 who Allah called ulul azm and the likes of Ibrahim and our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala Ibrahim Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammadin wa barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala Ibrahim bi ala innaka al-Majid. لأن هذين خليلين من ماذا أتم وصول في وأكمل منهما في التوحيد, and Allah has made them from the most complete, or all of them are complete. Now, and this Tawheed, Mada in the Sufiya, the Shaykh said, Mada huwa Tawheed, and everybody in the third said Tawheed al-Am. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata billah. الذي دعا إليهم الرسل هو توحيد العام. it's low level توحيد, everybody's the same توحيد العام. اللهم المستعان. And the Shaykh, he says, وَهُوَ مِنْ أَسْفَلِ مَرَاتِبِ التَّوْحِيدِ عند الصوفية. هو من أسفل مراتب التوحيد عند الصوفية. And it's the lowest level of Tawheed as it relates to the Sufis, that which the prophets and messengers came with. And of course, there may be some Sufis that haven't went to this level, but why did we mention any of this at all? Because it's in the Aqidatul Tahawiyah. Ibn Abi is laid it out and then rebuttals it and shows their falsehood, and it also shows you how we got to the point where they could deny the issues of the Asma wa Sifat, or try to change them, or blame those who take the dhahir of the Asma wa Sifat. Now, I want to make two more points before we close out. One of them concerning what we mentioned yesterday, and that is the issue of tamthil versus tashbih. The issue of tamthil versus tashbih. Here, we'll mention, inshallah, tabarak wa ta'ala, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he said in the Quran, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. We mentioned that all of the scholars, and Imam At-Tahawi, he mentioned this in this book, that there is no making tamthil wala tashbih to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tamthil was to make likeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he added wala tashbih, and no resemblance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we mentioned this before, it's in this book. Ibn Abi is explained after Imam Al-Tahawi makes this statement. All of the scholars, al-ulama, اتفقوا وأجمعوا العلماء على أن لا تمثل لله من أي وجه كان, that you cannot make a likeness to Allah in any way, from any perspective, and that Allah Azza wa Jal said this in the Quran, ليس كمثلي مثل تمثل. So I can't say that Allah says he has a hand. Yad Allah fawqa aydina. Allah's hand is above our hands. So I can't say Allah's hand is like my hand. That's what's called tamathul. Like the Jews, according to this ayah. You can't say Allah has a face like and then say my face. That's tamathul. Yani you can't say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears yani like I'm hearing. That's tamathul. Can't do it. The ayah makes it clear. And yani tamathul, the ulama, they said it means and tamathalu. Huh? Sure. We'll pray at 9 o'clock. And the ulama, they said tamathalu huwa and tamathalu shay min kulli awjah. That means that you make something يعني مصومة من كل يعني أوجه, that you make something equal from every perspective. So they give the example. You say, for example, if you had two pens, you said هذا قلم مثل هذا. This pen is like this pen. That would mean the color, the size, the shape, the function, the height, the width, from every perspective. Masawwa. Said, but yani, when you talk about the word tashbih, he said then a tashbih يعني ليس بمعنى يعني أن تكون ولا يعني يلزم يعني لفظ تشبيه أن تكون يعني مصومة من كل أوجه. But tashbih doesn't mean that it has to be يعني the same all the way around from every perspective. So therefore, when we say tamathal, if I was to yani try to make likeness to something to Allah, make something like to Allah, or Allah like something, everybody agrees haram. Why? Because the ayat tamathal. And what the ulama said of the Arabic language. And most of the ulama, the sheikh said, yani Ibn Abi Is, and the rest of them who talked about this, most of the ulama from Ahl al-Kalam, the people of rhetoric, wa munsafa, the mystics, and the falfasa, and the philosophers, they said, tamathal, yani, يعبر يعني ويعني يعبر بالمعنى تشبيه, that the word تمثيل, to make something like, it includes making resemblance. معظم يعني هؤلاء يقولون هذا, most of those people say that. أما يعني أهل العلم يعني those scholars that are not from those people of the philosophers and the mystics and the yani, people of rhetoric, from their intellect, they don't say that, because the word tashbih laysa يعني يعبر يعني عبارة في القرآن ولا يعبر عبارة من سنة. It's not a word that comes in the Quran nor the Sunnah. That word, yani jam and the nas, it came from the people. The word tashbih, not in the Quran. The word, yani tashbih, can't be found in the Quran. Resemblance can't be found in the Quran. Not in the authentic Sunnah, can't be found. Where did it come from? هذا عبارة, yani jusdarm and the nas, it came from the people. That, yani some from amongst them included that word tashbih yani with the meaning of yani tamathal. So when you say yani again to make something like in Arabic, that means from every perspective. But when you say something resembles, that doesn't necessitate that it's from every perspective. So the ulama that said that if you deny tamthil, هذا صحيح. هذا صحيح وهو أحسن وواجب على كل
nafi at-tamthil. Why? Because Allah said, laysa kamithlihi shay. So I can say, ana umathilu Allah. I am like Allah. But according to the people of Sufiya, Ahlul Kalam, the people of logic, and if it fits the logic, they take it. If it doesn't, they reject it. And the people of Falfasa, Muntaqa, then they say yes, that it is inclusive to liken and to resemble. But from Ahlul Sunnah, of those who say, and we're talking about real Ahlul Sunnah, not those people who are from the Asha'ir, Mu'tazili, Jahmiya, Maturidiyya, يعني كذلك يعني الأحناف وصوفية وهؤلاء, those groups. We're talking about the Salaf, يعني from our people of يعني real Aqidah and يعني going back to the early generations. And they said, if we deny tashbih, قد يكون حقا الباطل. It could be right or it could be wrong. They said, and when you say يعني tashbih, يعني يجوز يعني أن أشبه يعني بالله شيء, that you can say something resembles Allah. They say هذا من حيث اللفظ فقط. هذا من حيث اللفظ. That only resembles as it relates to the wording. ليس بمعنى. Why? Because يعني Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said يعني ليس كمثله شيء. So from that perspective, if you were to say to deny resemblance يعني to anything, you would have to ask them what they mean. If someone said, I'm not going to make resemblance to Allah, you say يعني ماذا تتقد أو ماذا يعني تعني بهذا. You have to ask them, give me tafsir. It's because that word can be used this way or that way. If they just say, أنا ما أشبه لله, I'm not going to resemble anything towards Allah, then you say, وماذا تعني? ماذا يعني تعني بهذا? What do you mean by that? Then if they say يعني ليس كمثله شيء, then you say نعم. But if they say يعني حتى في اللفظ, even the wording, then you say هذا باطل. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word to describe himself, and he uses a word to describe us. If you say Allah is يعني al-hayy, he used that word to describe us. If you say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يعني هو رحيم ويعني ودود, he's forgiving, he has mercy, يعني he's loving, he describes us with those words. So هذا النوع يعني من تشبيه دون يعني من كل أوجه, rather than saying something that's likened to Allah from every direction. This is some type of similarity. Where's the similarity? يعني من حيث اللفظ, as it relates to the word. But those people, they said no. يعني no. Why? Because they take the word يعني tashbih, which doesn't come in the Quran, neither the Sunnah, and they apply it to the meaning of يعني tamthil. And this يعني is why we have books like Al-Aqidah al-Hamawiyyah, يعني Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah, where he يعني showed and brought this issue of tashbih, يعني with regards to wording, يعني a whole book يعني where he brings all of this evidence. يعني Tis'iniyah, where he brings 90 lines of poetry with evidence to prove this. يعني Al-Aqidah al-Wasatiyah, يعني يوجد دليل على هذا. You have the دليل and that يعني Al-Aqidah al-Wasatiyah. You find يعني كذلك كتب ماذا ابن القدام المقدسي في يعني في ايش هذا الكتاب لمع الاعتقاد. نعم, you find it in that book. You find it in many of the books. يعني توحيد ابن خزيمة. نعم, يعني you find in that book وكتاب يعني الشريعة, يعني الشريعة يعني الجوري يعني العجوري, وكذلك ماذا وكتب يعني الأخرى. You find it in all of these books. يعني كتاب إمام الصابوني الاعتقاد يعني أهل الحديث وماذا يعني والسلف يعني في عقيدة. You find in his book, you find in so many books. Now, so we want to mention that part, Wallah musta'an, how it got to the point where they say you can't even say that anything resembles, because they try to take the word tamathal and add yani tashbih to that word, when Wallah musta'an, again, from our ulama of the past, our salaf, yani they made that point clear. It's not a total resemblance. It's not a resemblance in his fi dhatihi, in his existence, wala fi af'alihi, not yani in his action. Like in a tashbih min haythu laf, it's yani resembled only in the wording. As it relates to the false claim, as we talked about, yani them trying to say the belief of Imam Abi Hanifa, we tried to show that that's kadab yesterday. In the case of what Abi Hanifa believed as it relates to whoever doesn't say that Allah is above his throne, then Abi Hanifa said, well, kafir. That is one point, and one great point in where he's different from them, while they claim that their aqidah from the beginning to the end is like the likes of Imam Abi Hanifa. They say the same thing about Imam Abi Hasan al-Ash'ari. Now, Abi Hasan al-Ash'ari, biri'u min hadha kalam. He's free from that statement. Lo kana hayyan, Allah musta'an. If he was alive, he would demonstrate that. But his books and his life demonstrates that for him and for us after his death. Sheikh Fawzani was asked about those who say they are on the way of Abi Hasan al-Ash'ari. And did Imam Abi Hasan al-Ash'ari, did he make tawbah before he died? Sheikh Fawzani answered, he said, Abi Hasan al-Ash'ari, he got the name from al-Ash'ari from the great companion Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, because al-Ash'ari, they are tribe from Yemen. So Abi Hasan, he actually is from the lineage and the offsprings of that companion Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. That's why it's called Al-Ash'ari, from that tribe, from the people of Yemen. Number two, Sheikh Fawzani mentioned, you can go check all of this on your own. Kana Rabi, li Ali, he was the stepson of one of the leaders of the Mu'tazila during his time, which this person was married to Abi Hasan's mother. He was married to Abi Hasan's mother. So imagine you're married to a man, he's the stepfather of your son, so he's going to teach that son that which he believes. So that's where he learned the Mu'taziliya creed from his stepfather. Then at one point, Abi Hasan stands up in the masjid and he said, "Ana akhla'u min madhab Mu'tazila kama akhla'u min hadha thawb." He had a jacket over top his clothing. He took it off. He said, "I'm freeing myself from the likes that I've been taught by Ali Jabba'i, his stepfather, like I'm taking off this cloak." لكن انتقل إلى قلابي. But then he went and he became associated with the madhab of Qulabi, which was a person who was in philosophy. It was with Qulabi in his madhab, and then made إلى يعني ماذا مذهب Imam Ahmed ودعوة Imam Ahmed. Then he started to incline towards the teachings of Imam Ahmed during that time. Then, yani, before he died, he wrote books like Al-Abana, yani, where he, in that book, he yani, made Taraja, he made recantment and retractions from his belief of Qadariyah and also Wahabiyyah. Yani, and yani, has a famous yani, where he wrote Ana yani aqul wa ataqid, I believe, I say, like this, to show in the end that he was upon the aqidah and the madhab of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, upon the way of a Salaf Salih. And that's how he died. So Sheikh Fawzani said, so those Ash'aris today, if they really following, if they claim to be Ash'ari, and they want to say like Abi Hassan al-Ash'ari, then why don't they mention those books? Why don't they mention how he ended? Why they don't leave what he left if they're truly Ash'aris? He said they're not truly Ash'aris, because if they were, they would take the ending of their shaykh like they took the beginning and the middle. He says, so they're kadab, they're liars. They're not truly Ash'aris. And if you go to the books of Imam Abi Hassan al-Ash'ari, yani the beginning, the middle, and the end, you'll see his change, his retraction, his tawbah, and his clarity upon the way of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, upon the way of the Salaf al-Salih, the Madhab al-Salaf, the way of yani, that which the first two generations of the Muslims. And if something remained a little bit here and there, yani, then can yasir, the Sheikh Fawzan mentioned, Wallahu musta'an. And this we want to mention in closing, Wallahu musta'an. صلى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين.